Hey, good morning, my dear friends, and welcome to beautiful Surfside, California. Man, this weather has definitely changed yesterday in the afternoon. As you could see by the lead-in, it was blowing. In fact, some of the guys who even fished local yesterday were complaining about the wind, but it seems to be a thing of our past right now. It's gorgeous down here. Sunny, warm, and the ocean looks pretty flat, calm to me. Big breaking news this morning. The Polaris Supreme right now is on Bluefin Tuna. Last time we checked, he had 9 fish. If anything has changed, I'll put it down below for you and let you know. And the grade of fish, spectacular. 80 to 130 pound Bluefin Tuna. We'll have more on that in a moment. Don't forget our 5-day trip to Parts, April the 4th. Also, we're halibut fishing again locally here today. That should be very good. Sunday, March the 10th, we've got grunion that will be all over the beaches. At least that's the hope right now. The PCS show opened up to big crowds and people raved about what a great show it was. It continues through Sunday. We've got wintertime bass and so much more. You know what time it is. It's time for the morning briefing. Good morning, my friends. Oh, God, is that good? Man, am I excited. Bluefin tuna in the wintertime here in Southern California. We're going to push in to spring here shortly chronologically, but it seems like everything has been accelerated all year long. We've seen barracuda south of the border. We've seen yellowtail surging up the coast, the Baja coast that is in to SoCal. No huge hits yet, but the grade of fish has been spectacular. And man, I'll tell you now, the Bluefin Polaris Supreme with a nice score going on. We're going to get into that and so much more. Don't forget to hit that like button. We deeply appreciate it when you do that. Share these videos with a friend. Tick the bell. You'll be notified when there is new content. Subscribe to the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel, and you can follow us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Man, exciting stuff going on. And I had a feeling the Polaris Supreme would come through with some fish, and indeed they have done just that. We'll get to that story in a moment. By the way, some of the guys down on the local half-day boat, you know, the deckhands, they get in at night, they want to play poker, and they were trying to have a poker game last night down on one of the boats, and they just couldn't do it because the captain was standing on the deck. Yeah, okay. Well, I had to try. What the heck? All right, good morning, everybody. Let's get into it. We'll take you down to Mexico. Just tell you that in Cabo San Lucas, there is some very good striped marlin fishing continuing down there. That marlin bite's been good for a while now. The only thing that'll get in the way of it is some wind, so you got to watch the wind down there. And the wind also will get in the way of allowing you to push further offshore where there's some good schools of yellowfin tuna mixed up with some porpoise, or I should say dolphin pods out there. So some good yellowfin tuna fishing, good marlin fishing at times. It's not consistent. It's not an everyday thing. And also occasional wahoo and more dorado starting to show up down in that neck of the woods. Down in San Quintin, which is located 140 miles down below the border, continued good yellowtail action. Now the weather is starting to mellow out. They had breezy conditions. In fact, we had windy conditions up and down the Baja coast and all the way up into the Channel Islands. That's coming down. And the few days that we have laid out in front of us right now look absolutely perfect. They've had good yellowtail action down there on the yo-yo iron. That has been really excellent signal and sign, and hopefully we'll see that continue. And if that doesn't happen, the yellows that is, you've got plenty of great and colorful rockfish to fill up your ponga down there or whatever rig you happen to be on, and some really nice big lings also. We get you up to Ensenada, and I talked to my buddy Arnie Man yesterday. Arnie Man on Facebook. He runs great charters out of Ensenada. You should join him. He's a great fisherman. He fishes hard. He's a gentleman. He'll give you your money's worth every single time. He said, Phil, we're getting excited here in Ensenada. We have bluefin tuna only 45 miles from us right now, and it's still wintertime, for God's sake. So Arnie is going to go out, and so are several other guys out of Ensenada, and check that out. In fact, some of those guys might be checking it out here today. And of course, looming here in May, we have a great bluefin tuna tournament down there in Ensenada. It's going to be fantastic. They're giving away all kinds of great prizes, including boats and cash and so much more. They've got a fiesta planned for you. It's going to be fantastic down there in May, the 10th through the 12th. It's going to be a fabulous event. It's going to be a lot of fun with some great cash prizes, and the bluefin tuna are here, as evidenced by my friend Arnie Mann. They are also down there catching out of Ensenada some copious amounts of colorful rockfish. It's been really good. My friend Victor over there at Bluefin Sportfishing, check it out. Lots of rockfish down there. It's been fantastic. And they also catch some nice lings. There's some big bonita running around there. We've also seen the occasional yellowtail, breezers of yellowtail down around Santo Tomas, which is about 15 miles south of Ensenada, maybe a little bit further, where those breezers have been hanging out. Although you'll see them up there around Todos Santos Island also, which is only 12 miles from Ensenada. It's a stone's throw. So there's a lot of that breezing yellowtail that we're hoping is going to settle down, and we're hoping for another shot of that barracuda here very, very soon. Ensenada really going well right now, and I'll tell you, you can't go wrong by jumping on board with those guys. All right, let me cover long range with you, then we're going to that bluefin tuna. Long range situation, really good on the Red Rooster 3. In fact, one guy fly lined a sardine yesterday and ended up with a yellowfin tuna that weighed in at 305 pounds. What a gorgeous fish on the Red Rooster 3. They had much better conditions and a better bite on the bigger fish. They also had a 273-pound yellowfin tuna. Those are some nice, big, fat, grade YFT Red Rooster 3 doing their thing. I don't know how it can get much better than that. They also have some good wahoo fishing on these 16-day trips, running 16-day trips presently out of San Diego down there. Many boats, long-range boats, are now in for maintenance, getting ready because the Polaris Supreme's got us all excited now with this bluefin tuna, but many boats are in maintenance, but the Rooster is down there, wahoo, yellowfin tuna, and also they fish some other miscellaneous stuff like grouper and other species. And man, I'll tell you, that can be fantastic. Don't forget, it is tax season right now. If you got back taxes or you're just trying to get 2023 all cleared up, Tim Marquez is your man from A Best Income Tax. Tim is a great friend of the Friedman Adventures family, and he will take care of your tax burden today. Give him a call. And if you have heating or air conditioning needs, nobody better than our friend John Lopez. John's a great guy, works hard, and always puts in a huge effort for you. Give John a call today at Efficient Heating and Air Conditioning. All right, Polaris Supreme, as we speak right now, is seeing very good signal and sign on bluefin tuna. Really great stuff. He's on a 3-day trip out of San Diego, and I got to tell you, he put a nice hit on the boat. 9 fish, 80 to 130 pounds. Now, we've seen quite a bit of this 40 to 60 pound fish running around. Remember, the Old Glory last weekend had 24 fish. Most of that was 40 to 60 pounds. So obviously, he's on another area of fish, and that's what I am talking about. As we move deeper on into this year, we're going to get more boats down there. We call that coverage. We're going to get more coverage, and the more coverage you get, the more likely it is you're going to encounter bigger schools, more schools. Find out exactly where the epicenter is to this bluefin tuna bite, and I think we're just discovering it, and we will have updates throughout the day today. 9 fish, beautiful grade, and they are biting on the flat falls and the knife jigs really, really well. You fished a heavy string. I don't like fishing anything less than 130 pound on those fish. When the captain tells you to drop, you drop immediately, and you drop to the exact depth he told you to. Colored metered line is the way to make that happen. It changes color every 100 feet, so you know exactly where your jig is, and that is super important to your success. A lot of that 200 to 300 gram jigs have been working well, but some heavier stuff last night also working well, and into this morning. And they'll be fly lining and maybe sinker fishing here this morning, so we'll keep you up to date. That is great news. Polaris Supreme out of C4 Sport Fishing. They got a long day and a big night ahead of them, and that is exciting stuff. And of course, that all bodes well for our April 4th through the 9th trip on the Independence. What a trip that is going to be. Make sure you go to independentsportfishing.com or give the office a call today, or better yet, go to the PCS show and say hi to Mark Paisano, Paul Strasser, and Paulina and her husband, and ask them about that 5-day trip. It's not too late for you to join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to shoot that epic video on this trip. Check out Independent Sport Fishing. All right, we are stoked about what is going on there on board the Polaris Supreme. Hey, I should mention, the Royal Polaris is on a conservation, or not a conservation, an ecology trip where they go down to the warm water lagoons of Baja California to check out the gray whales. They're in San Ignacio Lagoon, checking out the gray whales. Really, really special times. This is a special time of the year where the gray whales leave the Bering Sea up there in Alaska, and they travel all the way down, like a 5,000-mile journey into the warm water lagoons of Baja California. It's really something to see. Beautiful. And then 5,000 miles back, and that is the longest migration any mammal on the planet makes. The gray whale here in California. It is spectacular to check that out. All right, let's get into our local situation here in Southern California. Rockfish closed until April the 1st. We can catch sheephead now, so that's good stuff. Whitefish, sculpin. There's plenty of that going on in the wintertime bass bite. It's been pretty good. It's, not wide open, not the kind of bite where you're getting bit every bait. But if you do those little things right when you're fishing wintertime bass, it will pay off with a lot more fish. And that is, first of all, listening to the crew, because they're out there every single day, fishing the appropriate pound test fluorocarbon, okay? So if you have to go heavy because of some nasty structure, you better do that so you keep them out of that. But if you can get away with lighter, the lighter you go, the more bites you're going to get. We've mentioned to you that if you're going to fish sheephead in these local waters, that you go to the market and you get the shrimp with the shell and the head on it, but also stopping by a bait store like Big Fish Bait and Tackle here in Seal Beach and picking up ghost shrimp. Ghost shrimp not only work well on sheephead, and it works really well. Now you got a live shrimp on there, basically. Talk about enticing a fish to bite. Not only do you have that for the sheephead, but I'm telling you, sargo will bite that, and a myriad of other species will bite it, especially when you find yourself in that shallower water, like 40 to, let's call it 80 feet, 90 feet, in that zone with that ghost shrimp. Woo! Does that work wonders. So I would highly recommend that. If you're jumping on the Victory out of Long Beach Sport Fishing, they are doing a sheephead tournament. I would go armed with both the shrimp and the ghost shrimp, and then play with it and see what works best and see how you can do. Down in San Diego, Mission Bell, and several other boats down there, the Premier, several guys have been doing really well. I believe Scott Buchert is on the Point Loma today, so we'll get an update from Scott about how the bite goes down there. We've seen some yellowtail also show up down there. The new Seaforth had a great big fat yellow the other day. I mean, most of these yellows seem to be 18 to 25 or bigger, and they've had some incredible sights and really good showing on the Forky down there around La Jolla and surrounding areas. One of these days, that's going to blow sky high. Wouldn't surprise me if they get some fish today. And it's yo-yo ironfish here in the wintertime for the most part. That means you get to fish heavy line. You can fish 60-pound when you're yo-yoing an iron. And remember, just a little refresher one more time again. Yo-yo iron is a small, heavy jig, and the methodology is sinking it deep, winding on it fast, setting the hook by turning the handle. Just grind down, grind until that fish pulls line against the drag. You got them, and then you can have at it. And man, sometimes you can button down so hard that that fish gets very little line on you. And if you're in a very treacherous area where there's a lot of rocks and that kind of stuff, that is super important to get that fish away from that structure as soon as you possibly can. Don't forget, March the 24th, I'll be at Bass Pro Shops in Rancho Cucamonga, and I will be talking to you about how you can enjoy surf fishing and catch more fish. It's going to be at 12 noon, the day after my B-Day over there at Rancho Cucamonga. You're all invited. That's going to be a lot of fun. And it also gives me an opportunity to thank you for our incredible stats here on the Friedman Adventures YouTube channel and everything else we do social media-wise. I owe that all to you. And anytime I can shake your hand and thank you, it means so much to me. March the 24th, Rancho Cucamonga, Bass Pro Shops, 12 noon, right there in front of the aquarium. I'll be there and looking forward to seeing you. That is going to be a lot of fun. Halibut fishing yesterday on the Native Sun. They had to deal with some kind of crummy conditions. You saw the lead in. It was windy and there was a big swell. Guys had to fish heavy sinkers like 8-ounce or heavier right out the get-go yesterday. Sometimes you don't have to do that when you're fishing this local halibut. I'm talking here in the Long Beach, San Pedro area until the afternoon when the wind picks up, but they had to right away. Now this is a much different day, a much lovelier day. And Jolene Thompson is one of the great lady anglers in Southern California, happens to be a dear friend of mine. Also, she's on board the Native Son out of 22nd Street Landing. So we'll get some great updates later on today. We wish them all the best of luck. They like that 3-way swivel with 25-pound fluorocarbon and usually, 6-ounce torpedoes, sometimes 4 if you're in shallower water, you don't have much wind and current, sometimes up to a 12-ounce when it looks like you're trolling for these halibut in our local water. So some good stuff going on. Yesterday, 6 fish, had several in the teens and 1 over 20. Nothing wrong with that. And they're also doing that kind of thing up there in the Channel Islands. They're going to be full rack on the Aloha Spirit out of Cisco Sportfishing in Oxnard. And up there out of Ventura Harbor Sportfishing this Sunday, they are trying to get the Island Spirit out. Man, I'll tell you, that is a great boat, and they do such a great job. Ventura Sportfishing. Either give them a call at 805-676-3474 or go to their website, VenturaHarborSportfishing.com, and on checkout, put in preseason 20 on selected trips. They're going to knock 20% off until April the 1st. You only have a little bit of time to do that. I'd look at my calendar and plan my trips out for the coming season and save 20% on your trips. So keep that in mind. Ventura Sportfishing. If you call, say hi to Sal for me. It's been a while since I have seen him. All right, let's talk about the Southern California surf, because Big Fish Bait and Tackle right here in the city of Seal Beach, located on the corner of Seal Beach Boulevard and Pacific Coast Highway, is throwing a great derby all year long. Now this month, the month of March, it's the biggest barred perch you catch. You got to go buy their ruler down there. They have a special ruler that you use. Salty, there it is, I think. I hope I still have that photo. If not, I'll figure something out. But anyway, you want to have that ruler, and then all you do is you put your barred perch on there. You have to inscribe the date in the sand and then upload the photo to the Instagram account of Big Fish Bait and Tackle, and you could win a gorgeous custom rod. It's beautiful. It's something you're going to have in your tackle arsenal. Beautiful stuff, and they are going to continue that all year long. So March is barred perch, and then once we get to April, we'll let you know. Is it going to be halibut? Is it going to be a spot fin croaker? I'm not sure quite yet. Probably halibut with these grunion runs that are going to start occurring here shortly. But again, they have that great derby going on. Good barred perch fishing up and down the Southern California coast and even south of the border. We've seen some really good barred perch fishing down there in Huntington Beach around the Huntington Beach Pier, as well as around Dog Beach. Remember, this is, not the only time you're going to catch fish, but 2 hours before the high tide until 2 hours after the high tide, that's a great time to be fishing in the Southern California surf. So keep that in mind. We continue to see some halibut also in the surf here, so we'll watch that for you very, very closely. There's been halibut, there's been some yellowfin croaker, there's been some corbina. Water seems pretty warm up there around 60 degrees, so hopefully that's going to continue to head in the right direction. And I got to tell you, grunion run on March the 10th is sneaking up on us, and when all those grunion end up on the beach, all kinds of things start to happen. Predators move into the beach. You'll see more halibut. You'll see yellowfin croaker. You'll see fish biting on those little chrome lures or the Lucky Craft type lures. You are going to enjoy it a lot because that kicks everything into gear. In fact, when the grunion lay their eggs here in the surf, then the sandworms come out to feed on those grunion eggs. The reason I point that out is because you can dig those worms up, and they are a spectacular bait here in SoCal. You'll catch so much spot fin croaker on those worms. It is amazing. Frank Sujon, he had barred perch and a nice halibut here recently. Nice going there. And Sebastian Burns, Dan Burns' son, he shot some video in King Harbor, and there was a ton of grunion swimming around there. So it looks like this could be one of those times where the early season, the March 10th date, produces some really good grunion hunting. And if you've never done that with your family, you're going to want to do that. Robert Lopez with a lobster that looks like it will easily exceed 10 pounds. Lobster hoop netting here on your PromarAhi.com lobster report has been spectacular. It's been great this year and last year, so we only have a week or so to go on that, and it's been spectacular not only locally but also Catalina Island and other areas have been really productive. 7 lobster per angler. You still have time to pull that off. And man, as much as those things cost in the local markets now, 50 bucks a pound, you end up with 10 pounds of lobster. And something tells me, even with my poor math, that's about 500 bucks worth of crustaceans for you. All right, folks, really good stuff going on. Polaris Supreme on the Bluefin Tuna. I'm excited about that, and I'm excited about our April 4th through the 9th 5-day trip on board the Independence. I think we're going to catch a lot of yellowtail, but now Bluefin Tuna definitely in our sights as we look down the barrel of an incredible season this year. It is looking fantastic. All right, stay in touch with the latest. Head out to the PCS show and enjoy it. It's a fabulous show with a lot of great people out there. And of course, if I don't see you here really, really soon, like at the PCS show, I hope to see you somewhere else on this gorgeous planet of ours really, really soon. Take care, my friends. Have a wonderful Friday and a great weekend.